have. So again, this is Mr. Steve Cline. He's a candidate for Justice of the Peace for District 10. And so before we get into the issues, can you give people a little background about yourself and why you decided to run for this position?
Okay, I've lived in the rural area of the county, and back in the late 90s, the county JPs had passed an ordinance to require us to have mandatory garbage pickup.
Okay.
And we didn't like that too much, so we got a petition out and put a referendum, and it was defeated in a countywide vote.
Okay.
And after that, I decided I'd like to be JP.
Okay.
So I ran for JP and got beat, and I ran again, I won.
All right.
And then I served for 4 years, and then I decided I was going to run for county clerk, and I put a good race, but I got beat in that.
Okay.
And then I decided, well, I was a construction work, and I decided I didn't have enough time to work as a JP at the time.
Okay.
So I waited until later on. I got caught up. I started slowing down in work and semi-retired, and I ran 4 years ago to be JP again, and I won.
All right.
And didn't have an opponent the last time, and this time I got an opponent.
Okay.
And I really liked the job, and I like, there's 13 JPs, and all but 3 of them, or four of us live in the city of Jonesboro. The rest of us live in rural areas.
Okay.
So the rural area is really not represented as well as maybe for 13,
Okay.
And so I like to represent the rural area. And I live in the rural area because I want to,
Okay.
and most people do because they want to, and I want to represent them and what they need.
And like I stated before, my previous guest, that we as the residents of the city and of the county
Right.
need to put as much energy into those that are running and serving for Justice of the Peace as we do any other position, because you all make quite a few decisions
Right.
that affect a lot of people. And so let's get into the times that since you have been in your position, what are some things that you have brought to the position, to the entity of the Concord, and what are some things you would like, if you are elected again, what are some things you would like to improve upon or change or get rid of?
Okay. Well, there's something I was involved in back earlier in my first terms, that the 911 system in Jonesboro was put in effect. And the county merged with the dispatch of the sheriff's department to the Jonesboro dispatch system, or 911 system. And back then, when it was funded, it was mainly paid for by the sales tax by a 911 fee on our phones at home. Well, everybody had home phones back then.
Yes.
And now, I remember as a kid, we had a 8-party line on our house. And we had 2 rings. Ours was 1 long and somebody else was 2 shorts. And you could pick up the phone anytime and somebody would be on the phone.
Okay.
So it's just changed a lot since then. But now there's a whole lot more cell phones than there are home phones.
Okay.
And my same house, we was over there not long ago, and there was probably 10 people there, and it was 10 phones there.
Oh, wow.
So everybody had their own phone. Well, right now we get a little over $1 from the residential phones, but the cell phones is about 60 cents a phone for the 911 system, and phones are $800, $900, $1,000 now.
Yes.
So I feel everybody be willing to pay a little bit more on their cell phone to have better 911 service, because now they can locate you wherever your cell phone is.
Yes.
It's not just your home, and the county's paid for all that, but the state has the equipment to do that. But the state is not kept up in the funding. We've been lost all up in the legislature to raise that fee so the counties won't have to be paying out so much. This past 2 years, we've paid over $300,000 a year out of the general fund to pay on the 911 system, and that's only 20% of the system. So Jonesboro's paying a lot too, above what comes in from the fees. So that's something I'm working on. And then also the fire departments have got a problem with the radio system, communication system, and we've been trying to work with the volunteer fire departments to get something done on that. It's an expensive deal, and it's a lot of effort. I've talked to a dozen firemen, and they've all got different opinion on what needs to be done. So we're trying to find out what they really need. So, and I'm hoping maybe if we can save money on the 911 system, we can use some of that money for communications for the fire departments.
See, these are just some things these are only 2 issues that some people probably had no clue about, what you're having to make decisions on, and how you're trying to move funds around to make sure that everything that is necessary for the upkeep and proper function of the county, it's funded. Because of the different community events I've attended, or people that I've talked with, and keeping a close relationship with the city officials, something like the volunteer firefighter radios, I knew a little bit about that, but again, not enough to where I need to be more involved. So I wish that everyone would become a little more aware of what's going on and what issues we face as a county. Even though most of us maybe live in the city, Jonesboro still sits in the county.
Yes. Wow.
So
It is.
decisions that the quorum court and county judge make affect us all. So we need to be aware of what issues we're facing, what decisions are on the table, what's being discussed, and things of that nature.
Yeah, really the county brings in, of course, money's divided in the county by population. So
Okay.
Jonesboro gets like the 1 cent sales tax. Jonesboro's got one, and the county's got one.
Okay.
Well, Jonesboro gets all the 1 cent, but the 1 cent the county gets, it's divided among all the cities of the county. So Jonesboro, if they've got 60% of the population, they get 60%. If Mono's got 1% or 2%, then they get 1 or 2%. And the county only gets the percentage for the people that live in the county. So the bigger cities gets more money, and turn back money for roads. There's a system in place right now where there's a 1 cent sales tax statewide that the people voted in 2012 statewide. But it's going to go out in about 2022, I believe.
Okay.
Right now, the cities get about 44 million, and the counties get about 44 million for the roads, paved roads, and then the rest of it goes to state for state highways.
Okay.
Well, that's going to be going off, and we're going to have to replace that somehow. And the governor's already proposed something on the ballot to do that, and that'll be affecting the quorum courts as well. Because if we lose that funding, the county, Frederick County don't get 44 million. That's statewide, but you divide that up on 75 counties, so it makes it's a big chunk of money. Still,
Yes.
yeah. But we need more roads, and we got now the county, the justice of peace don't really tell the county judge what to do.
Okay.
We just pass ordinances and resolutions for funding. A lot of money comes in, there's grant money, and it has to be spent in certain places, and that's the only thing that can be spent for. But usually we have to pass a resolution allowing that.
Okay.
So we pass resolutions like that. And there's county ordinances that we passed that we're going to be voting on one tonight. It has to do with the library, the agreement between Cricket County and Poinsett County on Crowley's Ridge Library. It's been in effect for a long time, but we've got to modify it. We've got to renew it every so many years. So we vote on things like that. If the fire department wants to appoint somebody for the fire board for one of the fire districts like Bono or Brooklyn or wherever, we have to, the county judge appoints them, but the quorum court has to vote to approve them.
Wow.
And that goes for drainage districts, or some drainage districts, some improvement districts, involve individual things. And you got all the offices in the county, and we fund all them. We have to approve their budget. But the county judge makes that budget, and then we have to vote on whether we want that to be or not. But if they've got a certain amount of money they get, and it's supposed to be under certain items that they use it for, but it can be transferred over. And at the end of the year, they may spend more in office supplies and less in vehicle supplies or whatever.
Okay.
But we have to pass ordinances that reconcile all that.
Wow.
Because every year the state law lets all that and make sure it's all got to balance out even.
Oh, you all have a lot of duties.
There's a lot of things to be done.
So again, we're tuned into Community Conversations. Speaking with Mr. Steve Cline, who is the candidate for Justice of the Peace for District 10, which you currently serve. And again, I want to give this disclaimer: KLK does not support or endorse any candidate. No compensation was given for this interview. This is strictly for informational purposes only. We cannot tell you who to vote for, but we do encourage you to vote. You want to see the person you like in a position, please go out and vote for them so they continue. If they are already in a position, they can continue to do the work. If they're new to the position, hopefully they will bring something to the table that you like and will make the improvements or make the changes you want to see. Can't tell you who to vote for, but again, please go out and vote. I want to say good morning to Miss Amanda Donovan, who says good morning to you, sir. So again, let's get back into talking about the role you play. And so since you are already in this position, going forward, if you are elected, what are some other things that the county faces that you would like to see?
We're looking at a crisis center. The state has given us a grant, $1.6 million for the next 3 years, I believe it is, or 2 years for sure, to operate a crisis center, which if a person is arrested and he's off his medications, well, before we always have to take him to jail. There's no place to put him. Well, this center, if you're off your medications, I'll take you to the crisis center. Health South will run this, and they'll evaluate you and see if you're just off your meds and to get you straightened out and put you back at home.
Okay.
And if you're something else wrong, then you'll go to jail.
Okay.
But this is, but we have to, that is only to run it, but we're going to have a building to put it all in.
Mm-hmm.
And this building will probably cost about $1 million
Yeah.
that we're going to pay for. So, and we just bought new voting machines.
Okay.
And there's like $300 and something thousand we paid for them. And then I just voted a while ago, so I know I got one vote no matter what. I voted. Well, that's where I was at a while ago when I should have been here. But these voting machines are really nice, and early voting started today, so a person can get out and vote today. Especially weather may get bad or something. On election day, you might not be able to make it, but you got plenty of time to make it. But that's something we've just done. Hopefully, the state reimburses for a lot of that. I don't know that will happen. But the crisis center is a really important thing because there's probably, I think the sheriff said about 300 and something people a year they have to do that with, and that's one person a day. You know, and if that many people that can help and get them back on their medications and keep them out of jail, keep them out of trouble, that'd be good. And also there's drug court, we've got that to deal with. And the one thing we really have to fund, no matter what, by the state constitution, is the jail. The sheriff's department. That's got to be funded no matter what.
And I'm sure people want to see, I mean, of course we don't want to see anybody in jail, but if they commit a crime, they have to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if there's no jail, no people, no salaries being paid to the jailers, then, I mean, people are going to be back on the street.
Yeah. And we may need to add on to the jail before long. That's something that may be coming up also. And it's the last time, it's been a while since it's been added on to. But we constantly, it's sad to say, but we always need more room because more people are violating the law, which goes with more population you get, the more people will violate, you know. So it's always about a certain percentage will always be a problem with, you know. And so we've got to have more room for that. That's something we're looking at.
So again, I just want to encourage everyone, get to know who is in the Justice of the Peace position because they make a lot of decisions for the county. Even if you live within the city limits, you still live in Craighead County. You need to understand and be aware of what's going on and what's happening around you. You talked about the crisis center. I remember when the discussion first came up about a year or so ago, and a lot of people were against the initial location. Again, those people voiced their concern. They used their voice. Right. We as residents, no matter where you live, whatever side of town this facility is proposed to be on, the residents have a voice for or against or whatever. But we have to know who's in what position and who to contact and how to find out this information. So just like with the city council, they have an agenda. They have posted their agenda before the meeting. Is there a place where people can find out what's on the agenda for the quorum court before the meeting?
Yeah, it'll always be in the newspaper a day or two before.
Okay.
It's always a newspaper. And you can call the courthouse, the county judge's office, and they can give it to anybody that needs it. And anything really important will be publicized if it's a really important deal. Most of the time it's just routine stuff, like tonight's thing, and then the budget is coming up. We're going to have to approve this budget. So between now and the end of the year, the main thing will be the budget process.
All right. And
we got a new judge coming in, and I think he's going to do things a little different than what the other judge did.
Okay.
So we'll have to see how that all plays out.
So everyone, whoever's elected in November, come November, whoever the final, people are, it's going to be a whole new ball game almost for everyone come January. And so you all got to get to know each other. We, the residents, got to get to know you. And I really hope that people step up and support one way or another, even if their person is not in the position, they still support who is in the position, so that the county can keep running efficiently as possible.
And I like to get calls from people. If you got a bad road and I don't know about it, I can't tell anybody fix it,
Okay.
And if you call, I'm on the road committee, which I look at a lot of roads, and if I drive a lot of roads I know bad spots, so I can call the road department and say, we need to fix this.
Okay.
But not just on road, you need to call about anything, like the crisis center just talking about. People can, now if we build that, it's going to be at the jail property. And if you can't have one at jail property, you can't have one anywhere. So that's going to be taken care of. But because the citizens call their JPs or their city councilmen or the mayors, that's why that is being moved.
Okay.
It may cost us more out here, but people will be satisfied with it.
Okay. again, you want to see something happen, want to get things done, contact the people that's in the position. All right. Again, you're tuned in to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We're speaking with Mr. Steve Cline, who is the candidate for Justice of the Peace, District 10. Now, can you give us an idea of where District 10 is?
Okay, if you start at the county line on Lawrence County on Highway 230,
Okay.
and take it east to Bono, and then follow the city limits of Bono to the south around to the railroad tracks at the bottom of Bono Hill,
Okay.
and then it hits the Burlington Northern Railroad tracks and follows it around to Dan Avenue and on around to the city limits, and it skirts the city limits of Jonesboro all the way around to 351,
Okay.
and then it goes north on 351 to what we call Channel Lake Road, and then it goes back west to around Rock Hill Road, which is most of the way up to 141, but not all the way,
Okay.
and then goes north to the Green County line.
All right.
It's got one town in it, and that's Bono.
Bono, okay. And which is still important because it's right next to Jonesboro. All these counties, all the cities within the county are nestled, right together. And people travel back and forth in between, depending on where you live. Your child may go to school in Bono if you live certain distance outside the city limits. So anyway, we just want I would love for all the residents to really become informed voters, go out and vote. And then whoever's in the position, again, support them. Get to know what issues are coming up, what's on the agenda. Attend the meetings. Are people allowed to attend the meetings and voice their
opinion? The county judge will always give the people an opportunity to voice their opinion. If you got something very important, it's best to call ahead of time and get on the agenda and to present something. It's been several years ago, but Bono was looking at getting a new senior citizen center.
Okay.
So they got on the agenda, and one of the guys that was working with it called a meeting, wanted to help him out on it. So he came to the meeting, and I vouched for him, and we supported it, and was going to get a state grant. But the Quorum Court had to approve that grant as well. So they have a lot of things to do like that. They might not be, JPs don't just marry people. And they're not like on Andy Griffin, where Andy was the JP and the sheriff both.
No.
They don't have any power like that. But their mainly something is a county legislature.
Okay.
Is what their main job is.
The county legislature. And you work very closely with the state and things that are being concerning legislation and other things that are being passed. When it comes to positions that are vacant, you all make a decision on. Do you vote internally on who's going to replace until it's time for the general election again? Okay,
if the Justice of the Peace gets off, then the governor has to appoint that. But if any of the other elected offices, the sheriff or the judge or anything, if any of them pass away or go into office, then the JPs have to pick that person.
Okay.
So that's pretty important there. I've only seen that one time whenever Jack, I can't think of his last name.
Okay.
He passed away. Jack Souter.
Okay.
Not Jack Souter, but his last name is Souter.
Okay.
Mary Souter's husband. I can't remember his name right now. But he passed away right shortly after he was elected. And then people put in an application to become the sheriff, and we wound up picking Dale Hoss as the sheriff, which became next time the county judge for several years. So.
Okay, I remember that name.
Broadcasting from the First National Bank Tower, this is KLEKLP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council.
Good Monday morning, Jonesboro. This is meteorologist Tim Root with your KLEK 102.5 forecast. Mostly sunny today. Temperatures will range from 60 to 65, light southwest winds. No frost tonight, not